Hey, everybody, welcome to Rough Stuff. My name is Bridget Greenberg, and you're listening to the podcast where we ask our comedian friends their most humiliating stories from childhood. For instance, I was afraid to flush the toilet for years because of the sound. Yep.
Yes.
Yes. And
yes.
You relate? That's my co-host.
Yes, I'm Sarah Griffith, and I used to wait until everybody was out of the bathroom because I did not like the sound of my tinkle hitting the toilet water.
Wow.
It made me very self-conscious that people knew that I was peeing, even though I'm like in a bathroom, I'm doing one of three things.
Yes.
Right, and it doesn't sound different for different people. It's the same sound.
It wasn't like someone's gonna be like, is some freak peeing in here?
Yeah.
In the bathroom?
How dare you? And with us is our guest in the hot seat. He runs the Gamefully Unemployed Network, which you should know by now. If you're listening to Small Beans, check it out. Who are you?
Hi, I'm David Bell. I'm very flattered to be called a comedian by you. And I flunked kindergarten.
Oh.
Yeah.
How?
How? I think is the question.
I don't know. I never checked up on that because I was too young to know. I stayed back. Back in kindergarten. I have no idea why. I never asked my parents for much of an explanation. I don't know. Why did kids stay back in kindergarten? Do they get their shapes wrong? Or?
Were you too old? Because I know people who did. I think my sister actually did kindergarten twice because her age was like at a weird place where she could.
Well, wouldn't that mean I would have to be too young though? Because if I stayed back, because since it didn't affect. Well, I mean, I guess it technically affected my life in like a butterfly effect way. But I was always a year older than all of my friends because growing up, having stayed back since kindergarten, I was always a year older every grade I was in from there on.
Maybe it's like your age. Maybe you're just stupid. I don't know.
I might be stupid.
I knew. There were always like a couple kids in like in the schools I went to that stayed back in kindergarten, and I always assumed they like set someone on fire. Right. I assumed it was like real. They did some delinquent shit.
No, I think I was just special.
I think it just took you a while.
Yeah.
Or you were such a delight. Did you have the same teacher twice?
Actually, it's weird. Okay, I'm pretty sure I did, and then I'm pretty sure she became the first grade teacher, so I think I had her 3 times. I'm pretty sure she was my first crush, that kindergarten first grade teacher, but it might have just been because, like, I'd just been hanging out with her for so long.
I'm picturing, like, Miss Honey from Matilda. Right. Like that kind of, like, sweet, very, like, it's okay, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I assume so. She's not. She wasn't a jerk. I don't think she was a jerk to me.
I don't think there are kindergarten teachers who are jerks.
Yeah, I know her husband once came into class, and I was very upset about that. According to my parents.
That's adorable. But let's move on in your history a little bit. Let's.
But we're starting at the beginning. We're building a base
at
here.
The dawn.
That's why I started with that.
Yeah,
because I was like, I've been listening. I caught up on. I watched the Soren or listened to the Soren one, and that really stressed me out because I was like, well, I don't have anything like that.
Hey, nobody does.
No one does.
Nobody does.
Yeah, he lived in a nightmare town. That he seemed to enjoy. It did good things for him, but it's not anybody else's experience.
My mom recently called me and she was like, these are the 2 things I want to do the next time I'm in LA, and I'm serious about this. 1, I want to go to the Magic Castle. I was like, okay. 2, I need to meet that guy who was on Rough Stuff, who lived in the woods or whatever, their wilderness mountain. She was like appalled.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's so
You're going to
funny.
have to make that happen, right?
Yeah, maybe that'll be like Rough Stuff Live. We can book a theater.
Just have your mom have your mom yell at Soren for 90 minutes.
Yes,
that would be great. I would enjoy that.
Maybe that could be the next Small Beans like Patreon goal.
Yeah, fly Debbie Griffith
mom,
out here to yell at Soren Bowie.
Right.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, he deserves it. But let's talk about you a little bit. I know everyone can. I feel like everyone we talk to is like, "Oh, I'm still in an awkward phase." But like, what was your? Do you feel like you had a peak of humiliation?
I think everybody did. I struggled with this, with thinking of stuff because I don't have shame. I don't think
good for you.
Good.
I've done shameful things, but there's very rarely are things that I look back on and I'm like, oh God, because I don't know what it is. I put myself in a lot of situations that I wanted to be in early on. I went to, elementary school, you don't have a choice in that. And then I went to a junior high, and it was like the town high school, and it was like football and all that, the jock stuff. It was like out of a movie. And after middle school, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And so my parents, I don't know if they brought it to me or I asked, but I wanted to change schools, and I went to a performance arts charter school.
There are two of you.
Really? Did you?
I went to a magnet school, but performing arts, yes.
Yeah. And after that, it was just like a real good time because it's like the teachers don't give a fuck. And like it's real laid back.
Yeah, you guys are all embarrassing.
Yeah.
But we don't know it.
You don't know it.
No,
you guys
just
say stuff to me and I'm like, that's
you
horrible.
have to be really working at it to be the most embarrassing person at a performing arts school.
Yes.
Like you really need to be like putting forth like the work you have to do.
And they were very good about not having the same social situations or hierarchy as high school. It was very accepting. We had an annual drag show that was really, really cool.
That's cool.
Well, good for you guys.
I know. A real, like in Western Massachusetts, real liberal. That said, middle school at the regular high school has to be it. That has to be. That's before I figured out like punk rock, because I got into punk, and once I got into punk, it was like,
you had your niche.
Out.
Yeah.
But until then, I think for those couple years, I guess I could be called a goth at that point. It was a bad time to wear a trench coat all the time.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was like the first year I was walking around in a trench coat with like really shitty hair, like slicked back, real edgelord shit. And then Columbine happened, and I was like, oh no. Suddenly everybody was real nice to me at school.
Yeah.
People were like, hey Dave, how you feeling lately?
How you doing?
Yeah.
Checking in, we're friends.
You're cool. Did they like ban trench coats at your school? Because I know there were things we weren't allowed to wear.
We had...
And trench coats was one of them.
I remember we had shooter drills.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time it had happened. The trench coats, they didn't ban it, I don't think. What happened is I remember like sitting down with teachers and them having like conversations with me, and I guess they determined, because I was also really into horror movies and gore and stuff like that.
Right.
Holy shit! So you were like checking every box.
Well, that was the thing they realized, is because I got into like movie making and stuff at an early age, making videos with my best friend. And so once they realized that, I think they were like, oh, he's just like a nerd.
You're just doing
He's harmless. He's a coward. It's fine.
He's just he's just some nerd with a camcorder.
Right. It's also Massachusetts, so I don't know where I would have gotten a gun. I mean, they're available, but
Connecticut. No, I don't know.
New Hampshire, actually. New Hampshire is the Texas of New England.
I don't know the bureaucracies of but the hierarchy of East Coast states.
New Hampshire's where you get your guns, you get your scratch tickets. Oh, you can get your scratch tickets in Massachusetts. You get your cheap cigarettes, you get your fireworks, and you get your cocaine.
And this is all like an hour drive away?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Crazy to me.
Yeah.
In Texas, you can do all that at the Kroger.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, in Florida, it's just whatever corner you find yourself out.
Sweet Florida.
Yeah, Florida, it's whatever police boat you've hopped onto that day.
I lived in Florida for a year, and I have so many like white guy weapons that I got from stores, and like nunchucks type of thing, or like brass knuckles.
I had no idea.
Different kind of knives.
I had no idea that brass knuckles were illegal.
They're paperweights, technically.
I thought they were just something that, you
just had.
People had.
It's in your garage.
To show off.
It's like, next to your like power drill lawnmower, like random like butterfly knife.
People brought them to school. Or someone having a parent school. And this was not like, this was a fancy prep school. This wasn't.
Right.
So they were just showing off.
Oh, yeah.
But so this goth phase, was it just like horror movies, or were you like full South Park, Into the Cure?
No, I never got. All right, I think what it is, my sister, I have an older sister by I think like 3 years or something. So she would have her friends over. They would watch horror movies like The Evil Dead and Halloween and all that, and she was a little gothy. I think she was a bad kid in school. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And
Get
so
her
like
on.
her friends I got to know, and then I sort of knew the style more, and I didn't listen to I listened to Nick Cave a lot.
Oh, I still love Nick Cave.
Yeah, I started listening to Nick Cave in 5th grade.
Oh, that's early. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a senior year of college discovery for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I did because I was really into the X-Files, and
Oh,
the
that makes
X-Files
sense.
soundtrack
Yeah.
has a Nick Cave song in it.
This is all adding up.
Yeah.
Especially into the David Bell that I know today.
Yeah.
We're connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Right. But I think those few years, it was very like internet edgelord, because the internet was in full swing. So I know me and my friend had like a really edgy web page, like with the dark web page with like the like the Offspring Smash font, like of like real crackly font, and stuff like that.
Well, I can see this. Like this is very easy to picture for me.
Yeah.
What did you get? What was the web page about?
Oh, I don't even know. I bet there was poetry on it. I bet there was like stories and like I'm pray that webpage doesn't exist anymore. I don't think it does.
You've never looked it up?
See, I was going to ask,
it was like
what's
an
the
Angel
URL?
Fire. It was like an Angel Fire website,
Okay.
so it's probably gone.
Yeah. Did anybody like in your school find? Was this like?
Yes, the principal.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
He commented on it to me, which was kind of scary because we found a blueprint of the high school and posted on there again around Columbine.
Yeah, not great looks.
Not great looks.
Yeah.
And my friend didn't actually go to the high school. He went to a different school, so it was just all on me.
Yeah. Oh. So in your like high school, were you then like the loner like this, or did you have a community of
I had a community,
goths?
Not goths, but like you know that I went to. It's all small. My elementary school class was I think like 10 kids.
Yeah.
And so it was just like the same freaking 10 kids every time, and then the high school is like 4 towns that came together, and of course these are all the towns that we all played like sports against each other and stuff.
Are they all called like East Lake, West Lake, North Lake, South Lake, High, whatever?
No. This is the sticks. Like it's all just it's hills and woods, and I've spent a lot of time wandering in the woods. Just because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's
and you know everybody's kind of far away because there's like I didn't live in like a suburb. It was like the country. It was
okay.
It was I could go outside and scream and the neighbors couldn't hear me. And that was awesome when I got older.
Right.
Everything you have said thus far on this podcast is putting you on lists.
Yeah.
Several.
It is all.
This is a profile we're building here on you.
List of cool kids is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what was? So you had your little like clique of who were the people in the school, the middle school?
Man, I don't even know. I met a few friends there, and it was like outcasts. It was theater kids that I started, and I think they're the ones who told me about the other school, because then when I transferred to that school, they were there too, so we kind of went together, and it was a small handful, and they were kind of gothy, kind of punk, And then there's like the holdover middle school people, but it really came down to I've had a friend since 2nd grade that I still know.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of always just been me and him.
Right.
More than anything else. Like there's plenty of other friends and stuff, but it was that. Like the weekends and stuff, I'd hang out with him.
Yeah. All right. So then that like transition into the theater school. You get there. Things are great. Everyone's weird. Looking
it's like
back,
9th grade.
Yeah. Looking back on it now, though, is there anything that you are like, yeah, that was probably weird?
Jeez.
Did you not listen to anything he just said?
Yeah, I mean...
He put the blueprints of his school on a dark, edgy goth website.
That's where it was the weirdest. Once I got to 9th grade, it was like coming out of my shell. Because again, I had hippie parents. They were very, very laid back.
Okay.
Hippie-ass school. We had like film critique class, which really helped for me.
Yeah.
The way the school worked is it had extra like 2 hours every day, and it would get out early for the summer. And those extra 2 hours was meant for like a bigger class, like film critique, or I took fencing, stage combat, all of that crap. And it was just so lovey-dovey that like to rebel, you had to basically be conservative.
Right.
Like you had to be like, you had to like,
just
you
be
had
a
to put on a
football
MAGA
player.
hat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A MAGA hat.
I actually had a theology professor in college because I had to take theology to get my degree. And because trust me, I wasn't like, signing up for the theology classes. Yeah. But my professor was a priest, and he grew up in a very like hippie, liberal, super secular community. And like literally he was like, I wanted to rebel, and the only way to rebel was like to join the church.
Right.
Wow. And it stuck, obviously.
Yeah. Or the other way is like a lot of punk bands around Massachusetts would be like really like offensive shit is how they do it. And they wouldn't necessarily believe in the stuff they were saying. They were just like, this is the only way to shock people.
Right. Well, that's where punk gets its bad rap, I imagine, with merging with that neo-Nazi culture.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you definitely have some stories about that.
I've run into my fair share of Nazis.
Yeah, what is that? What?
This is
no.
later in life.
What?
Clashing.
Run into.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I do have one.
Pardon?
This is skipping years ahead because I got into like the British punk, and we like me and that friend from second grade went to England and like spent a month there and went to shows and stuff.
That's so cool.
And,
that is cool, man.
Yeah, we were probably like 20 something, early 20s, and then also around that time we would go to punk shows and stuff, but the music, it was like Cockspur and the Addicts and the Business, and they're oi skinhead bands, so they're not Nazis, but they attract a lot of Nazi skinheads. So a lot of the time they'd like keep them out of the show and stuff, but like I remember I was in New Jersey at a festival and everybody was sleeping in the parking lot, and I had a wonderful conversation with this guy, and we talked for like an hour, and he was like, it was great meeting you, and he turned around, swastika on the back of the head as he walked away. I was just like, great Dave. Way to have a conversation with a Nazi, Dave. That was awful.
Maybe he was like a very old school Buddhist.
No. It went the Nazi way. It didn't go the Buddhist way.
Don't you hate when that happens? All of a sudden,
you learn how to identify Nazis from not just having swastikas.
Other ways. I mean, they identify themselves pretty proudly. For the most part.
Yeah.
They are proud boys.
Well, no, the Nazis of today, they're easier to identify. But like when you're at a punk scene, because skinheads,
it's a look.
Yeah, skinheads came before Nazis, and they like branched off. So the skinheads have the shaved head, the suspenders, the boots, and everything. But
it's like
they hate
color,
Nazis.
Yeah, but like, isn't it like the color shoelaces? That's
part. I've heard that. Yeah. Suspenders indicate if they're ready to fight or not. If the suspenders are down, that means I think they want to fight. I always looked for spiderweb tattoos on the elbows or anything that was prison tattoos because usually those were the Nazis. Not always, but usually.
Wow. Huh. I don't have these problems at my Smash Mouth concerts. Yeah. This is like a whole new world I'm learning.
You don't know.
You
don't know.
Oh, shit. If Smash Mouth is secretly like into some neo-Nazi shit.
There might be some Nazis at a Smash Mouth concert. You never know.
I mean, if there's an Ace of Base Nazi connection... I feel like it's a slippery slope for you.
Plug for Smash Mouth on their Twitter. They're pretty liberal and very kick-ass, very vocal
They're very
about
good
their...
at that.
Yeah.
But before this becomes a Smash Mouth podcast, as Sarah has pitched so many times.
There's a huge audience for it. It's me, Guy Fieri, Suburban Moms,
and others.
My friends. They would not listen to that.
Speaking of punk rock, then, how's this transition? I don't talk like when you dove into that.
Right.
What was that transition from? Like, I feel like theater boy and punk rocker. They don't go as hand in hand.
The punk rock came before. I was never a theater. I wasn't that into theater. I was into film, and this school also offered film stuff.
Gotcha.
And photography. Then I became like a theater techie because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
Theater was like the football of this school, so it was like everybody gets involved.
Theater is the football of every school, I think. Right? No, is that not?
Yeah.
That's why they have so much funding for the arts in public schools.
I was trying to pin this down. I think I was in 7th grade, and it was back in the other school. And that school had a annual trip to Washington, D.C. for the grade. Whatever, I think it was 7th grade. So we went, and I think one of the off days, we went to the mall. And I bought a Punkorama CD.
Sorry, like the shopping mall, not like the DC.
The shopping mall. Yeah,
not like the mall, but
a shopping mall.
So I bought a punk CD there, and I think it was like I was still making the transition slowly,
right?
Because like a lot of like Nick Cave is kind of punkish, and then my cousins were getting into punk, so they were like
right,
and it became, and at that point it was really like trying everything out. Like, I wonder if I like Prodigy, and you know what, I do like Prodigy, but not in the same
not as
way.
much. Yes.
So it was a lot of that, and then I think my friend who I knew since second grade was like, check out the Dead Kennedys. And
then, your classic intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I think my cousin was showing me Crass. And it was all so weird. And then there was like the Offspring, and some of the poppy stuff was in there as well.
Yeah, I lived in that pop punk world.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been to the Warped Tour a lot of times.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I skateboarded around listening to
I was
a lot of pop punk.
I never quite did that. Like I was never into Blink-182. Like at the Warped Tour, I gravitated towards like Anti-Flag and like the stuff that would end up being more like Crass, the more hardcore punk.
Yeah, I feel
British stuff.
I feel like that stuff has more longevity because now that's like the pop punk I listen to is like, oh yeah, now it's just nostalgia and it's not actually like good, or if they're making music, it is just pop now.
Right, it's not terrible, but there was that point. There was that point where MTV like harnessed punk. And I remember being so young and dumb to be like mad about that. But I remember being mad about that.
Oh, yeah.
That is like a classic teenage thing to be mad about.
Right.
I think being mad at MTV, though, is like the American experience, like from Gen X all the way to Z. You know, like everyone's always mad at
I don't know if Z gets mad at MTV. But
Gen Z doesn't watch Mad TV. You're right. They don't
Mad
watch television. MTV, whatever the fuck. They also don't watch Mad
TV. Yeah. No, I do remember... This is so embarrassing because the band is not good, and you'll all remember this. What was the band? I think they were called like Cobra Starship. That's what they were called.
Yes.
They were called Cobra Starship, and I thought they were super like cool and indie.
I don't know that.
This is like early 2000s stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then MTV played them, and it was like, no, this is my band. MTV can't commercialize them like that. Meanwhile, the song they played had the star of Gossip Girl, Leland Meester, in it. And
it was Bad Girls, Good Girls, something.
Oh, it was
something like in that vein of like.
Yeah, it was a hot garbage, and there would be these concerts that were like 30 minutes away that were $15. So me and my friend would go all the time, and it was like the Main and All Time Low.
Right, those are
and like shit pop punk bands, but that my parents were like, well, they're going to that and not parties, so that's probably fine.
Very true.
I love a good Did you do the church basement punk shows?
I
my
did
cousin
not.
had a punk band that they would always play like church basements.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I remember in college I would go to basement shows a lot.
Oh yeah,
that was a big thing in the Philly scene. Is basement shows with your local, with your schools or whatever local bands.
Right, where it's like $2 at the door.
Yeah, and it's just like a gross sweaty band. Yeah, a band shoved in a corner, and you're just like everyone is sweating on you, and your beer is like half sweat, half beer.
Yeah, my friend, the same friend, had a punk band. He was the lead singer of a punk band in college, and I didn't go to the same college as him. I just hung around it a lot and didn't get a degree. But they would play in it was Hampshire College, which is a very, very like, I think it's closing down, but it's a hippie ass college.
Yeah,
it sounds like it. Honestly, just from the name.
Where I come from, this was the thing is that there's 5 colleges. Smith College, which is an all-girls school, Hampshire College, University of Massachusetts, Mount Holyoke, and Amherst. And people always joked how it's the 5 Scooby-Doo characters. Because Amherst is preppy like Freddie. Smith College, all-girls school like Daphne.
It's gotta be Velma.
Velma. Yeah, feminist, all-girls feminist school. Mount Holyoke was an all-girls school that was less known for that. It was the Velma, or the Daphne, sorry. Hampshire was Shaggy because it was the hippie college, and then the stupid dog was UMass.
That's great.
But yeah, so they would play punk shows there in like the rec rooms or whatever, and it'd be this mix of like hippie kids and people there to mosh, and it was just a fucking disaster.
Yeah. I remember one of those shows in Philly. It was like at a small venue, and I was in the front for a show, and there was like a mosh pit happening that I got sucked into because always the smallest girl at the show ends up getting sucked in. And the lead singer literally stopped and they were like, hey, everyone, let her out. Let her out. And I just like, my like guy friend that I went with just like pulled me out.
You were like, that person in the mosh pit that they have to stop everything.
Yeah, they stopped everything because there's always the tiniest girl there is going to get sucked in somehow. Like you just get caught in an orbit and you're just like the thing going into the gravitational pull. Like,
oh my God.
At the Warped Tour, the pits, you never know when they're going to break out and everybody shoves each other at first. Yeah. My first pit was like, it's a nightmare at first until you figure it out.
Figure out what happens and you just got to start throwing bows and fists.
Yeah, I always did fine in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
I never had a problem. I had one problem. I got knocked out during Rancid at the Warped Tour.
Oh,
Jesus!
Yeah, I got.
You got hit by a flying skank.
It was kind of. It was two people ran into each other, and my head was between them.
Oh no!
Shit.
And then I just remember being like outside of the pit, and someone like, "Hey, are you all right, man?" And I was just like, "I guess." Like it was like a blackout.
Yeah. So, I know you described like the period in your time that you like in your life that you look back on with the most shame.
I'm really trying to let's get like I'm trying to dig around with my finger and find the shame for you guys.
Let's dig into it because it sounds like it was during that period where you're off in London.
I mean, the punk rock phase would be, I'm sure I did a lot of shameful things, and I just don't remember them because of alcohol.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And that goes well into my 20s, because London, I remember, was fun. It's a lot of drugs.
Yep.
A lot of, like, staying out. We went to a squat house punk show that was awesome. But... I mean, we got mugged, but the guy wasn't successful. Two people have tried to mug me.
And they...
How are they not successful? They just didn't get your money?
Yeah, because we didn't have any. The first again, it's London. So the first one's in London, so he didn't have anything to threaten us with. He was like, I'm going to punch you guys. And we were on our way home. We had our train money tucked into our socks. And we had no other money. That's why we were going home, because the hostel was like, you guys can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
And so we were sleeping on the street overnight, and my friend was throwing up because we're pretty sure he had pneumonia.
Jesus. And oh my God, these are dark times.
Yeah,
but fun times.
They were pretty fun. I look back at it with fondness. This was the end of the trip, and we were that was the thing, we had some extra change and we were stupidly just giving them to people on the street, and someone caught word of it, and this guy wanted £4 and we had just given everything away, so he started like grabbing us and calling us names and saying he was going to punch us, and we were like kind of between a rock and a hard place, because we were like, we don't like, we obviously we had the money in our socks, but we needed that, so we're just like, man, we don't have any money. And he just gave up and walked away.
So he was one guy?
It's just one really swole dude.
Okay.
He could have beat us up.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
we were all like, we had.
Yeah, but as an American, you have to minimum have a knife.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah, we had nothing.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to have anything, so it was like a stalemate.
Yeah.
We had our luggage with us, but he didn't want to steal our luggage. Because what are you going to do with a bunch of clothes?
Yeah. What a bad mugger. I feel like
not a good mugger.
Yeah, I feel like you got to back that claim up. And also, I like the idea of like a British guy, like, I'll punch you.
Yeah.
Like,
Oi.
Yeah. Oh, he had that accent. It was adorable. Can't take it too seriously.
Yeah, you can't be threatened by that unless it's like in a Guy Ritchie movie. You know, that's the only time.
Yeah.
Unless it's Jason Statham.
You need way fast edits. And quick cuts in order for that to be intimidating.
Some cool music in there.
Right. Some sick needle drop.
Yeah.
But do you have anything that sticks out?
From London specifically?
Or from basically that period in your...
I mean, probably the most devastating period is a few years later. And now we're going into the 20s. Because I basically... Going back to high school real quick, it was going to that performance arts school, and then like in 9th grade I got a girlfriend, and then we dated throughout high school, and that was just that.
Oh, yeah.
It was like I was, those couples that in high school that are just, that's them.
That's yeah. Oh, that protects you from so much, I feel
does.
like.
Really
especially have
does.
a girl in your life in that like kind of transitionary period to like,
It was very helpful. And so the awkwardness, and then I dropped out of high school. I got my GED.
Yeah.
And then just hung out a lot. And I mean, going into, I'm trying to think of dumb shit I did during that time. I made a short film that was awful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, did you show it?
It was an hour-long film. It's
that's
probably
not short.
still out there. Yeah.
That's not
It
short.
was made by getting really drunk and writing like conversations between people.
That
just
classic.
like Hemingway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's fucking key, like it's prime Tarantino era.
Yeah.
And so the dialogue was just the worst.
Yeah.
I was so smart. I was so smart.
You're so good. Did you one, I have two questions. Was there a plot?
Yeah, what's the pitch?
No.
Yeah.
There was no plot. It was an abstract film. It was like
that's
Lynchian.
so deep, man.
Yeah.
It's just people living their lives.
Can you guess if it had color?
No
didn't
way.
have color.
No,
Of
that
course.
wouldn't be cool.
No, it wouldn't be cool.
That wouldn't be like Kevin Smith.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin Smith was an influence
Of
as
course,
well.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think I filmed it over a year because I would just find people to be in it. And
What
people
were they
would agree.
Yeah, what were they
'Cause
doing?
I was also probably the best influence of it all was
Yeah.
Monty Python, because I was thinking of it now for something
Right.
completely different where everything's kind of connected from one thing to the next.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that enabled me to just shoot stuff
Right.
in little chunks.
And then find it later.
Yes. And find connections. So like I had one friend who was the through line who was there for most of it, but we were just shooting random people's houses. I think we shot at the movie theater I worked at. And
So,
it's just awful.
That's a long time too. An hour of that?
Hour of that.
What?
I think I made my parents watch it.
Yeah,
like,
that was my follow-up.
And
It's
again,
like-
there's like real edgy, I'm a white guy who has absolutely no experience in the world
Yeah.
in a very liberal place. Like Western Mass, very liberal, very white at
Yes.
the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like very like, and then I'm in the years where I'm trying to be edgy and it's just a disaster.
It's not working.
Yeah. But since I went to a performance arts school, I'm not going to name names, but there's some people in it who went on to do acting jobs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Blind item.
Release the film.
Exactly. That's all I could think about is like there's people who are just as invested in that never seeing the light of day
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
me.
seriously.
Did you? Yeah, that was my next question because I'm still. What was the through line that you found?
It's just sketches.
It's just sketches.
It
Okay.
was stories within stories within stories. So it
Okay.
was people like it would be bookended and bookended. And
Oh my
bookended
God.
and bookended.
That's insufferable.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was insufferable. In my defense, it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
And I had imagined it as kind of a spoof on experimental films.
Yep.
I remember
Okay.
I'd seen the movie Begotten. Have you ever seen Begotten?
I don't think I have.
No.
Begotten is don't see Begotten.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
good, but it's hard to watch. And the director went on to do Shadow of the Vampire, if you remember that, with Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And it's very high contrast, grainy black and white.
Yep. Yeah, I can picture it.
Yeah, and I was surrounded by people who were doing it better than me. Like my cousin did films kind of similar, but they were like actually good. He would like shoot on film and stuff like that because I think he was going to film school at the time, and one of my classmates was better at it.
I don't know. I think it's impossible to make a good short film at whatever age that was like pre
Or that's what we have to tell ourselves so we don't feel like failures now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I also made a horrible short films that. My question for you, and I will follow up with my own story about this, but did you show it? Like, was there a screening?
No. What we
Okay,
did, we
smart.
were very, I'd go to this performance arts school, and I'd get out around 1 or 2, and I'd take the bus to Northampton.
1 or 2?
Like I said, it gets out later than, or maybe it was more, or maybe it was later actually. I don't know.
It's early. We got out at like 3. I don't know. I was at school
I
at
feel
like
like
5
7
a.m.
a.m. to 3 p.m. ish.
Oh, really?
7-ish, 3-ish
Yeah.
is like your...
We got out when we got out. Maybe
Yeah,
it was
whatever.
more like 4.
We just left. They were just like, yeah.
Honestly, at a performing arts school, yeah, some
Yeah.
days we
Yeah.
just left.
Yeah. And I go into the neighboring town, and it was a real cool town, and like we just like be on the streets a lot, and we'd like just hang out, and people would meet each other up, and you'd like buy weed and stuff. And this is like 16 to 18 ish, and we would sell the movie in a DVD on the street, like a zine. We give it away. So who knows who has it?
That is interesting and better because the way that we would show our short films in college, or not in college. In college, it was a screening, but in high school, we made one it was like a homecoming filmmaking competition. And I was like, I'm all over this. Meanwhile, there's so much cursing in this film that we almost got suspended for it because like every other word is a curse word, and I went to a very strict school. And now watching it, I was like, this isn't like you're just overloading it. It was just like kids who first learned how to curse.
Yeah.
Then the second one was played. It was an Inception spoof that we played at like our pre-graduation ceremony in high school. So all our teachers, our parents, and everybody watched it. The students all thought it was hilarious because it was just inside jokes. And then I just remember the room in this church being silent.
Oh, no.
And for some reason, in this very Jewish school, we were in a church for our post-graduation ceremonies.
Wow.
But
the space was available.
And
probably cheap.
It played to silence, and you know it was a good way to learn that feeling before going off to be like. And everyone's like, "So where are you going to school?" "Oh, I'm going to film school."
Yeah,
and everyone's like, "Oh boy,
good for you."
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like a tip for anybody listening to this in their teens: don't do it. Don't make a movie.
Don't do it.
No, you have to. You have to because you need to know what it tastes like to eat shit. You need to know what shit tastes like and get that taste young.
You don't necessarily know it. You're tasting shit until you get older.
No,
though.
That's the thing. And find it in a file deep in your computer.
Well, like wine, it has to age, and then it's like, delicious wine. Your shit, you need to make it, have it age a little, and be like, oh, yuck, shit. This is shit. I don't want to eat shit.
Recently, one of those movies was like reposted. Because Sarah and I were lucky enough to be in high school at the time where you could upload things to YouTube. So they're still on there and there forever.
I need to chase a few things down, quite frankly.
It's not easy to get stuff off YouTube.
No.
It's next to impossible. So it got posted to like our class Facebook page and everyone's like, this is great. This is hilarious. And I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to have missed that.
Yeah.
I think LiveJournal was the only thing.
I was on LiveJournal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, that's all gone.
I think Sarah and I hit that sweet spot where we got all of it. We got LiveJournal,
Zanga,
through Friendster, through MySpace, and then into YouTube. So we just our entire lives you can find somewhere.
Did you guys ever have a period of your life in your youth where you could go out and do stuff and you didn't have a phone?
Yes.
Okay, so you still remember that being untethered.
Well, okay, I had a phone. I actually got a phone in 5th grade.
That's young.
But a prepaid phone that was for calling my mom. So, yes, in that I would be out and not looking at my phone, but I think I did actually always have a phone, but for the very specific purposes of, like, calling my parents.
Okay. I think I had that later, but there was a time where I was... Again, I would get out of school, and like every Friday, I'd get out and go hang out with friends, and it was just like my parents had agreed to be like, yeah, we'll pick you up at this time.
Yes, that definitely was still like, you know, we're going to pick you up at this time. But I could also call and be like, hey, it's going to be a little bit later earlier.
I think my parents were also very lucky in that they had this anxiety-ridden crazy child who was like, if you're not there at one time, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to have a panic attack. Like, I remember my parents being like 10 minutes late to drop off and me like borderline in tears being like, where you?
They left me. They forgot me.
They're never coming back.
No, I remember carrying my, oh my God, this was like a whole ordeal. But when I turned 16, I got a Canon Rebel XTI because I wanted a DSLR for ages. I wound up being the 2-time editor of the yearbook. Brag.
Nice.
Cool.
Congratulations.
And that camera is like my baby angel. I brought it to school with me every single day and took photos of my friends every single day and would upload to Facebook probably like once a month. And I think now, like, dude, if I had an iPhone, like, curtains to that, I wouldn't have to take my camera anywhere. You know? Those things, like, in a weird, like, because I always was able to contact my parents, but there are some things that it's like, if I had the phone I had now, back then, you know, what would be different?
Yes. I mean, I scrolled down my Facebook before coming here, and it does start at a fortunate point.
Ooh, where does it start?
Well, I didn't take a lot of pictures, But I had a friend who took a lot of pictures.
Yeah, that's the word. Because I'm the same way. Where I don't.
You're two kinds of people in the world: the people who take the photos, people who are in the photos.
But that's where, because then you don't have control. What I've realized from being that person, you don't have control over what gets posted. So it's always you in a corner not paying attention, and so it's just an awful photo of you, just like. Ooh.
My Facebook begins with some of the drunkest photographs of a human being known to
Holy shit!
Amazing.
Yeah, this was like early 20s. This was where I got the brand on me. The G.
Oh my God. Yeah, story.
This was later. This, I felt like, because I was talking to some people before coming here, and I briefly mentioned this, and they were like, that's probably what you should talk about. Even though, again, I don't feel any shame.
Yeah.
No shame. But
no, you have a brand on you. There, we want to hear that story.
Yeah, I kind of have to. This was a punk house. It was with my friend since second grade and his band. And we had a tradition that started actually before me of naming our houses. Of course. Their first apartment, which I didn't live at, was Rocket House, and that was based off of a Simpsons episode. And then this one was called Garbage House because it was garbage.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's deep.
Yeah. And real quick, what was the band's name?
Rectal Mucus.
Hell yeah.
It's a good band. This band, for example, I should note, this band has been around from different names since the 80s.
Okay.
My friend Sven, who is probably 50 at this point, lived with us, and he was much older, always been a punk. He wrote a book about being a punk, and it's a really hard to find book, but it's really good.
As is a punk book. Yes. Hard to find. Super underground.
Yeah, it's about being a punk in the 80s. And so it was 3 of us, but then we had someone sleeping in the hallway, someone sleeping on the couch, usually like, whoever they're dating was also there.
Yeah. Yeah, like 18 people in that. Yeah.
Yes, and that's how it got. Is we'd have a party almost every night after a while, and it got we went through probably 6 or 7 love seats in a year because we broke them.
Jesus.
Because we had a tradition. We would get blackout drunk every night, and we would put on music. And when the song "Damaged" by Black Flag would come on, because it was always on random. Yeah. It was an unsaid rule that we would have a dog pile. We would jump on each other and start moshing and start breaking stuff. New people would not know about this. And they would get to know about it very quickly. So we broke coffee tables. Somehow I had a TV in that room that never got touched. Oh, I don't know how.
Respectful.
I think everybody liked video games, so everybody was like, not the TV.
The code.
Yeah, it's the current, like, you have your phone in your pocket, can't push you in the pool. Like.
Yeah.
We had holes in the walls. Yeah. We got our deposit back because we were very handy. We were very handy, so we just took a bunch of...
That never happens.
What we did is, it was really funny, is the last day our landlord comes in the day before we have to be gone, and we're just playing video games. Everything's still there, and he's like, you guys have to be gone tomorrow. And we're all like, yeah. And then the next day he showed up, empty and clean.
Wow.
The magic secret was Adderall.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moral of the story was Adderall.
Yeah.
But we decided, because in the movie Suburbia they get brands, so we decided to get a brand. So with a coat hanger on the oven, we made a G, and it looks more like a 6. Yeah. And mine looks the best out of all of them now because I volunteered to go first. The others got infected because when you keep burning someone with the same thing.
Yeah, flesh keeps getting burnt into your own burning flesh. Yeah. Oh my God.
Jesus.
How were you able to stay with or did you flinch?
I didn't flinch. We were probably drinking.
I mean, I imagine.
I remember one of my friends.
You had to be drunk.
One of my friends wasn't. One of my friends who had lived there and then moved out. We call him, we're like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in my PJs, I'm getting ready for bed. I got to work in the morning. Like, okay, well, we're all getting brands, and we need you here. And he was just like, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And just like, all right, how's it going? I guess
let's get this over with.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know a couple idiots who have done that thing, and none of them, they never turn out good because everyone is unprepared for the pain and flinches.
Right, you don't want to flinch. You press into it. I learned this from my mother. When I was getting my driver's license test, my mother was like, if you're nervous about something, volunteer to go first.
True.
And I volunteered to go first.
Oh.
And so then when they're like, who wants a brand? I was like, I remember the words of my mother. I don't think she appreciates that transferring over.
Yeah, I don't think that's what she meant.
Yeah.
But that's... that times at the garbage house seem...
That guy, Sean... so I had again, drinking. And this is like maybe 22. Yeah. I don't even know. I had a reputation. I think the nickname became the Bear because I had to work in the morning. I had a respectable, like, well-paying job right at that point.
Yeah.
And so I was getting up early to go to this job with my friend Sean, who was sleeping in our hallway. He was a producer. He would go in a suit every day. They had no idea how we lived.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And so he slept in the hallway, and we would get up at like 6 a.m. and get ready and go. And it was the night before, and everybody was still partying, and I had partied with them, and then I went to bed. And the Bear is the sleepwalking Dave, the Dave that isn't there.
Yeah.
And I was always very aggressive. And my friend, the one since second grade, looked down the hallway, and he saw the Bear walk into his room, like the empty, blank eyes, like look down and stare at him and leave.
Yeah.
And he walked in, he's like, Dave, what are you doing in my room? And I was like, I'm going to piss in your room. Matter of fact. And he was like, please don't piss in my room.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I'm going to piss just let me piss in your room. I was like mad about it. And then he was like, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm not going to piss. I'm going to piss on your chair. I won't piss on the floor. But obviously, this story has obviously been told back to me, so I'm going by other people. And they finally, somehow, like, other people got involved, and they negotiated the idea that I will go into the bathroom. And they're bringing me to the bathroom, and then Sean, who had been away for like a week, was out there partying, and he saw me, and he was apparently very high, and he was like, it's Dave! And he jumped on me and hugged me. And so I just beat him to the ground with my hands. I feel so bad. I punched him until he was like in a crouching position.
Oh no!
And I stepped over him and I went to the bathroom.
Oh my God!
Then we went to work.
Truly a bear.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, I said you're in my way before punching him or something like that.
Well, you're not supposed to fuck with someone who's like in a.
He didn't know. He had no idea. He just saw.
He just walked into this. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
We went to work the next morning. Me and him driving in the car. Me having no idea what had happened. Him being very quiet.
Yeah, black eyed.
Yeah.
Like, so we're gonna talk about this or
talk
about what?
Yeah, and we were walking into work, and he's like, "Remember punching me last night?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he understood.
Yeah,
I guess.
Kind of. He got it. What a nice friend.
When he got his own apartment, he got a really nice apartment and like lived his best life.
Yeah.
And he's married. I was at his wedding. This doesn't count as a teen story. I wore a Hawaiian shirt to his wedding.
Amazing.
Cool.
Because I was like, what do I wear? And he's like, you can wear whatever you want. So I was like, fuck
Take you up on that. Yeah.
I show up. It's a black tie wedding.
Oh.
Waspy black tie wedding. And he's just like,
damn.
I see you wore a fun shirt. And I'm like, you fucking asshole.
I went to a wedding recently with, or a couple years ago with my family, and they're like, it's casual. It was in like, it was in Martha's Vineyard. They're like, it's on a farm. It's casual. My brother and I were like, okay. And we showed up late and in jeans.
Yeah. You have to lean into it at that point. That was the only option.
Oh, we were not close to this family. We were just like, yeah, we get some time and this seems nice.
Yeah.
So we didn't even know these people.
It's like time to get drunk and being embarrassed.
Yeah.
I had the opposite thing happen. I've been to like only 2 weddings my whole life. And the second one I went to was with my dad, and it was like one of his like family members, air quotes on family, because it's really like, are we really related? Or are you actually my cousin? One of those kind of things. And, you know, he and I dressed like we were going to a wedding.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we wore a dress. He wore, like, a collared shirt, tucked in, whatever. And everybody else was, like, chewing tobacco.
That's
like,
better.
Yeah.
That's better, though. That's a better way to do it.
Definitely.
My first job ever was filming weddings. So I've been to, like, 100 weddings.
I've worked now, like, 100 weddings,
Yeah.
And they are fun when you get to stand back and observe.
Yes.
Yes.
You get to see the drama unfold.
Well, I plan weddings for a while, so
Ooh.
that is not fun. You, the vendor, though, are in a killer position to really... What I like about working weddings is that, like, in the course of a single day, you really get plugged into drama and like gossip and shit that at the end of the day, you immediately
immediately forget it.
Oh, yeah.
This doesn't, it's like I watched 10 hours of General Hospital and then like my memory was wiped of it at the end of the day.
Yeah. In college, I photographed a lot of Greek life formals. Which I would always call proms, and everyone would get very mad at me, which I thought was very funny.
I don't know what this is.
It's prom. It's essentially
it is prom for
it is
sororities and fraternities.
Yeah, it's very very stupid.
They have proms?
They pay basically like part of your Greek life dues is that they put on like a social event. I think like once a year or once a semester.
Yeah.
And you basically just get dressed up and get very, very drunk at like, a dance hall or something that is stupid enough to rent the place out to
a bunch of college kids. Yeah. And I would photograph those because they would pay me like a ridiculous amount. And
I was going to say, I bet that was good money. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. They would pay me a stupid amount. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know how to use a camera. Not that well.
Sure.
They're like, but you're a film school student, we know. And I was like, I am a screenwriting student, but okay.
They're like, you technically know how to use a camera better than everybody else.
Here. And so, I would just take like blurry pictures of like drunk frat couples.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And they would pay me $500, and it was the best gig I've ever had.
I only went to one formal once, and it was the first time in my whole life that I checked in with myself and was like, ooh, I'm getting older. Like, I feel old. Because it was me and my friend Liz. We accompanied our friend Andy. He was like 2 years younger than us. I think he was a sophomore in this frat. And it was going to be fun because it was like he's bringing 2 older girls. This is a frat that actually older by like 2 years, but this was a frat that was actually founded a year before I had started school. So we knew the founders of the frat, which actually did give us a lot of like,
you got street
clout.
cred.
Oh yeah, we had major clout. That's why you could bring 2 girls to formal. We didn't have to pay for shit because it was like, well, we know the founders, and all the youngins didn't. So we did have a little kiss the ring moment with everyone else, but being at that formal and seeing all the underage girls like getting hog wild with their dates and stuff.
It was uncomfortable.
I was like, I know that used to be me not long ago, but now it's distinctly not.
Right.
And we are drinking Pinot Grigio at this fucking
bar.
Fancy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we were 22, so we were like actually drinking.
Right.
And they were all just like, I don't know, drinking Jaeger with the straw and a Capri Sun back. Like, what the fuck do you drink when you're young? And it's like, whatever,
anything.
Alcohol plus
whatever people can buy.
Whatever you can find on the ground. I don't know.
I had the cool parents, so I had every Friday night a party at my house. Friday night. And like weird people from the town, like townies would come and stuff.
Townies.
And one of my friends was Brian. He was 30.
Oh no.
And he would he was very nice. He was actually one of the most, like, reading his writing and his music, he's like really talented, but had problems in his life that didn't make him able to do that stuff.
Yeah. Well, he is partying with high schoolers, so.
Yeah, and then I had another friend who was also like in his 20s at the time, and they would buy our cigarettes and our beer, and we would party at my place. And then I remember being in this town in like my late 20s with my second grade friend, and we saw a bunch of young punks hanging out, and we were like, remember those guys? Remember how like there were those guys? Let's go say hi to those guys. And we like sat down and we sat with them for 5 minutes. We were like, I hate these guys.
Yeah.
This is insufferable. Why did they hang out with us? And we left because it was like,
it's almost like a magic portal opens up, and it's like, would you like to be young again? And you're like, yes. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, actually,
never mind.
I'm too old and I like my life the way it is. Thank you very much.
Let's go to a bar. Like,
exactly.
I remember the last day that I was still in Philly, like my college town, I remember going to a gross dive bar in Philadelphia where like it was the scummiest, like all the lights were on. That's how gross this bar was.
Was there carpeting?
Yes, there was carpeting. You smelled every cigarette that has been smoked in there since like 1776.
It's still there, baby.
It's still there.
Ben Franklin cigarettes.
And I remember talking to this drunk guy, this like clearly local drunk dude at that bar. He was talking to me about Gravity's Rainbow for like 45 minutes. And I was like, you know what? Not one word he said made sense. I've never finished Gravity's Rainbow, but I'm pretty sure you're wrong about all of this. And no one, it's time for me to leave this old town.
This was like an older drunk guy?
Oh, yeah. He was like in his 50s.
Oh, no.
Late 50s.
Oh, shit.
He could have been like 27, but like times have been hard. And he was talking to me about Thomas. He's like, have you ever read Pinch and Young Girl? And I was like, kind of. And he was like, let's talk about it. And it was like a 45-minute conversation. And I was like, know what? Not cool to be this guy. I found that out right now.
Cool.
Like, this is a good time in my life to learn that lesson. And then, because you said that thing about like how your friend had a job to go to, that is legitimately how I felt when I first started Cracked. Because I had just moved out to LA. I was 22 years old, fresh out of college. I was sleeping on an air mattress in an apartment I found. And like had my friend staying there while he was trying to find a place. And it was just like a nightmare walking into that house every day, after. And just,
Lenny and the Simpsons, don't tell people how I live.
No, literally.
Yeah, and then I would like walk in and they'd be like, what happened this weekend? And I was like, I fell off a cliff. It's a long, which is a thing that actually happened. Yes. And I was like, it's a long story.
Oh my God.
So relate to that from that point. But
it's like having a secret identity. It's like being a spy.
Yeah, exactly. You have a job, you present as a regular person.
Yeah,
and then
if
you're
only
just
my
like,
coworkers knew how little I slept this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd be appalled.
Yeah, they'd be very upset. But Dave Bell, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your delightful punk rock stories with us.
I hope this was awkward enough.
Oh, it was.
Okay. Yes, of course.
Oh, it's always awkward enough.
I talked all this kind of shit about I didn't talk shit, but I was like, I don't think people who've been in physical fights listen to this podcast. But then a bunch of people did. So I bet a bunch of people are going to be like, dude, I was into punk.
I guess I should talk about this.
Go for it.
This is shameful, I guess. There was about a year when I was like a punk again, like in my 20s, way too old, where at bars and stuff, I would challenge people to punch me as hard as they could in the face.
Oh, very Houdini of you.
I've been punched like 50 times. One guy
You should have started with that, yeah.
Oh, my
God. On your face?
Yeah, because I had his girlfriend. His girlfriend asked to punch me in the face, and I was like, sure. I think I probably was like hitting on her. I don't know. Yeah. I probably said something.
What an opening line. Hey, punch me in the face.
He probably thought I was hitting on her at least, and then he was like, can I do it? And I was like, sure. And he like said to his friends, like, check this out.
That's a bad.
And he punched me as hard as he could. He broke his hand, and I was fine.
Oh my God!
Wow, what you do is you lean down like this, and they punch the top of your skull, and that part is designed to not break.
Oh wow! All right. Well,
if you ever know you're having a punch coming at you, I think just look down. Okay. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Probably don't listen to my
advice. Don't. You sound more like a Harry Houdini kind of situation.
You may be concussed right now. Yeah. Like a permanent concussion.
Only one guy made my knees buckle. And it was a friend. He was a very big guy, and it was one of those things where he was like, I don't know if we should do this. And I was like, look, you're the biggest guy I know. We should probably try.
Yeah. You're the biggest dude I know.
Someone was there to catch it. Yeah. Someone filmed it, and Lord knows where that film is. It was like
we should have a screening of that, and then your hour-long film from high school. Yeah,
your
a double feature.
Well,
I dragged this out.
No. As always with rough stuff, don't try any of these stories at home, kids. Yeah, no. They're all learn from us.
And if you do, come on the show.
Yeah,
write in.
Let us know. But yeah, tell us where you can find us. Plug away.
I guess I've been plugging my Twitter more at movie hooligan. You can check me out there. I tweet about things. Then I as you mentioned, I co-run a network with Tom Ryman called Gamefully Unemployed. You can check us out at patreon.com/gamefully unemployed. We have exclusive podcasts on there. We also have, you can just check out our SoundCloud. I think it's under Story Mode as our official podcast. So check that out. And if you like what you hear, check out the Patreon. You probably already know about it, though.
Yeah.
I also write for Some More News, so check them out.
Definitely check both those things out. They're both fantastic.
And if you don't already follow these things, who the hell are you? And why are you listening to this podcast?
What is the crossover?
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah, so yes.
There's more. And as always, you can follow this podcast on all the socials at Rough Stuff Pod. You can email us or tweet at us your embarrassing stories. And you can find me on Twitter at Bridget Tweets.
Yeah, that email is roughstuffpod@gmail.com. hit it up. I'm at SK_Griffith. I want to give a shout out to my dad, who's getting his hip replaced, and he told me on the phone today that he's been saving up Rough Stuff episodes to listen to while he recovers.
Aww.
My mom got her hip replaced recently.
Oh, tell her to listen.
It went good. It went good.
Yeah.
So, your dad, it'll be fine. You'll have a great time.
Let's make this a #1 podcast for people on Vicodin.
Shout out.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Oh, I don't like that.
Nope.